During this video, we're going to take a look at another type of file that you can import, an external file you can import into Microsoft Excel. We're going to take a look at importing data from a Microsoft Access database. Now, if you're not familiar with Microsoft Access, no problem. This video is just about importing data from that other file type into Excel. Now, a quick FYI, if you're on a Mac, unfortunately, Microsoft Access is not developed for the Mac platform. So more than likely, you can probably skip this video right here and move on to the next one. Or you can sit back, relax, and enjoy learning how to import from a Microsoft Access database. Perhaps one day you'll work on a Windows system and the command will be there available for you. All right, so inside of the exercise files that you downloaded earlier, there is a file, it's a zip file, and it's called northwinddb-import. Now the Northwind database is the Microsoft Access database. I've zipped it up here because a lot of times systems block the .accdb or mdb file extension. So I've zipped it up. So before you use it, you got to unzip it. And you can do this a couple different ways. If I right click on it, there's an option in here in the right click for extract. Now, depending on what zip tool or extraction tool you use, you may see unzip. I'm going to choose extract all. Open up over here. Mine's going to put it right into the same folder that I'm in. So I'm just going to go ahead and say extract. Give it a moment. And there's the database right there. Now, if I close this window, it'll open up a second one for me. It created a new folder, northwinddb-import. Now, you don't have to do this, but I want to open it up in front of you just so you can see what it looks like. I'll give that one a double click. This is the Access interface. I can enable content. This is a little splash screen, kind of a welcome page into the database. The part that I really want to look at is on the left-hand side, and I'm going to go into tables. Now, a database is all about storing data for you to then work with. Be able to create queries off of, filter it, sort it, do what you need to with it. But ultimately, it's all about storing the data so that later on, I can then get the data and start to report off of that data. Now, here, I'm going to open up the orders table. Looks kind of like an Excel document, right? You got headers there along the top. You got order ID, customer, employee, and so on and so on. And you got all the records down below. Here, I can see that I have roughly 830 records inside of this table. Now, there's multiple different tables here. I got one for categories and customers and employees and so on. We're going to take a look at importing the orders table into Access. So I just want to give you a quick preview. This is what it looks like inside of its native format, inside of Microsoft Access. Now, to get that data into Excel, I'll close it out. Let's get my folder out of the way. I'm back inside the same file that I just used a video or two ago. This is the text document that I imported. I'm just going to add another worksheet tab here, and this is where I'm going to import the data. So once again, I'm going to go to my Data tab, Get Data from Database, and this time I'm going to do it from a Microsoft Access database. You also have the option to be able to go into a SQL Server database, a much larger database that perhaps sits someplace completely different on a server someplace. You need to have access to it, and you can grab the data from there. But for our demonstration, we'll do Access database. All right, I'm going to grab my data. Remember creating that new folder when I extract it. Give it a moment to load up here. It's connecting to the data. All right. Now this is a little bit different than what we experienced with the text file. Because the database can contain multiple tables as well as queries based on those tables, it's giving me a list of all the queries and tables. You'll notice that the first set, the little icon there, looks like two little boxes overlapping one another. Those are queries from the database. If I scroll down, we got one that looks more like a worksheet, just a single table. Those are your tables. I'm going to go ahead and select orders. Just going to give me a quick little preview here. There's my data. Now I do want to point out that some of the formatting doesn't transition over through the export or through the import, such as the employee ID and the customer ID. Those actually showed names. But inside of the Access database, there was an underlining value that gets sent to us. And then the dates got both the date and the time, because Microsoft Access uses a date-time data type. That's what we're going to get by default. So here, I'm just going to go to load to. I'll drop it into table, existing worksheet, just like our text file, and I'll hit OK. We'll give it just a moment. And there's my update. There's my data. All right, so we've been able to import data from an Access database. Something with loads of data in there. You may have thousands and thousands of records, and we can quickly make that connection and import the data. Now keep in mind, this is a connected document. If somebody updates the Access database, they go in, open up the orders table, they make edits, they add records, they delete records. I could then click into my table, go to my Query tab, top of my screen, or Table Design, it's actually in both places, and you'll have an option there for refresh. I can refresh that, and you would get the updated data. Depending on how much data you have, it may not be like that. It may take just a little bit of time to be able to retrieve that data and pull it into Excel. So this is importing data from a Microsoft Access database.